Now, if a story is told, if anything wrong goes on around here and you are the one who changes the whole concept, people will believe you. That was very much unfortunate for me because I thought the world was going to see. But the way it was so organized, I realized that no, I'm going in. And yes, I did. I even conducted an interview there and told the world that yes, I'm going to spend 4 years. I'm going to come out. I didn't do anything. And I spent 4 years, but I learned.
Storytelling is an art form. Some are born with the gift, while others hone it through perseverance, dedication, and time. Then there are those rare individuals who seem to possess it effortlessly, as if it were woven into the very fabric of their being. Charisma, much like storytelling, cannot be bought or borrowed. It is an innate quality, a commanding presence that enters into the room before a single word is spoken. Today's guest exemplifies this essence completely. He is one of the few who can genuinely claim to have come full circle. A journalist at heart, he has not only reported the news, but has also made headlines himself. He has walked the corridors of power and at one point stood shoulder to shoulder with fellow inmates, serving time behind bars. This is the story of the rise, fall, and remarkable resurgence of the incomparable Kawe Mamba. Siyanibusela and welcome to Echoes of the Kingdom. My name is Sinetemba Ndvombidepsika Ngogadlamini Sibongo, and this is a production that is brought to you proudly by Umsakato Akangwane EBIS. So please do share, like, and subscribe. Also, that notification bell is going to come on every time we drop an episode. Now, Echoes of the Kingdom is a special podcast where we profile Yemaswati who are doing extraordinary work. Some of them Niabati, some of them though Anbati. However, for this special episode, we're very thrilled to have with us someone whose name is synonymous with a lot of things: controversy, charisma, a powerhouse. Yes, but we're very excited that today we're actually going to hear his story from his own words. His name is Mr. Kawe Mamba, the owner and the director of what is now known as Channel Yemaswati. Thank you so much for joining us. We're very excited to have you on the podcast.
Yes, thank you very much for having me.
Let's just start with your upbringing. Let's talk about you as a child. What sort of a child were you? How would the people who grew up with you describe you?
Well, I don't know how they take me, but, I grew up in a cultural setting, maybe should I say traditional setting, Gangwane. So where you don't have a parent, everybody becomes a parent. So everybody helps you grow. Everybody instills discipline in you. Well, that's just me. So that's what I am right now. But I wouldn't want to talk about how people think about me. Yeah, that's just me, yes.
Yeah. What are some of your fondest memories growing up? What's your earliest memory when you think about your upbringing? What stands out?
What stands out is that I was part of the Army Cadets when I was young. I was quite lucky, though, to grow alongside His Majesty, the King. Actually, my mother is a princess as well. I was actually born at the palace. Now, you'd be quite surprised that I'm not a member of the royal family. I'm just a Kanya, biologically Mamba, commercially.
I like that.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I was born in the palace. So my mother and His Majesty King Sopuza II were siblings.
Oh.
Yes, so King Sopuza is the son of King Bunu, as you know. And my mother is the son of King Sopuza's, King Bunu's younger brother.
Wow.
Yes, so then King Sopuza then decided to bring my mother into the family. So I found myself being born in the palace. And also, as you reach puberty, you have to move away from the palace. So I then grew up at Babe Nkomlepondo Kumalo's place, Mawik Kumalo, that you know Mawik Kumalo, the Deputy Army Commander right now, Mfano Nkosi Kumalo, and many others. So that's how I was brought up at a very young age. So I was seriously disciplined. from a young age up till Form 5, when during the demise of His Majesty, and that's when I faced the reality, and reality I'm still facing.
Okay, that's very interesting. What are some of the qualities that were instilled in you as a child that probably frustrated you at the time, but that you've come to appreciate now that you're older?
Well, thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
I love it.
Yes.
Manners maketh a man.
Exactly. You don't say no. You just do whatever they say. And that's just what I do even this time. I ask later when an elderly man speaks.
Do you remember when the journalism bug bit you? When did you fall in love with journalism?
Well, I did my high school at Mbabane Central High School then, in the early 80s. And but what I did at school was, there was a magazine called Central Tribune. So I was part of those who were participating. And then also I used to participate in debates. So I then found myself being part of those who were writing. And then when TV came, it must have been in 1978, I was so interested. And so we used to joke about it. And eventually it came to reality when I left school in 82. So that's when I found myself in this field, journalism. Okay. But unfortunately, I started wrongly. I did agriculture at the University of Eswatini, but then I found my way afterwards, having joined Eswatini TV then. That was in 82. Okay. Yes.
Was that after university? Is that when you joined Eswatini TV?
Yes.
Okay.
It was actually during university because I joined Eswatini TV on a part-time basis. So I used to participate in their sports programs, read news, and yet I was not full-time.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so I then joined them in 1987.
What was the newsroom like at the time?
Well, much different from what it is today. I mean, it was quite primitive. We used to get our news from Reuters. It looked like a fax machine, and we only had one camera.
For the entire production?
Country, yes, for the whole country. And what I remember was the weather forecast. You know, it was very easy to say the weather because we used to say it was to be partly cloudy and cool with the possibility of isolated thunder showers in places, which basically tells the whole...
So that's a very non-committal statement.
Exactly. So that was it.
So we've learned also that you went to train and further your studies in Zambia, where you did your journalism. Who are some of the journalists that you were with at the time, and what do you remember about those crop of journalists?
Well, there was Sifiso Zwane, Linda Bembe. She worked at ABIS, she's now in England. Unfortunately, Sifiso is late. And actually, Sifiso, together, we then came back. He's the one who assisted me in establishing the channel Yemaswati you see today. Actually, he was on the side of training. For some reason, he was more connected because we trained some journalists and they were accredited, we were accredited to UP. I don't know how he did it, but unfortunately he died very early in life for me to find out. But there are so many calls right now. At least this opportunity now gives me the opportunity to tell the people that no, I cannot teach. Sifiso used to. So I'm an action man. I only train people to do the work. But sitting in class is very difficult for me. So yeah, we were with him, and also there were quite a number of others because in Zambia we were in an ecumenical college. It was called Mindolo Ecumenical College. So some others like, I'm sure he's a bishop now, Advent Lamini, we were with him as well. But they were doing something else. Those were the sources. But I know some others who were there before us, or even after us. Your CEO, your director, Mr. Sabelo Dlamini, was with us as well.
Was there also.
And then also Persis Melane, was also at
spokesperson for the King's Office.
The spokesperson for the King's Office. So, it was a good institution then. I don't know how it is now.
Okay. You said earlier that you are more of an action man. Yes. Do you remember some of the biggest stories that you covered back in the day?
Well, most of the stories that I did was I covered His Majesty most of the time. I was traveling with His Majesty, and I covered the first trip in 1989.
What was that like? Take us back to that moment.
Well, unfortunately, no one knew what was to happen before. You know, the cameras were quite huge. You had to carry a camera and a recorder. So that was my first channel. And then also, I remember when I went to British Airways, they were quite surprised as to how can you carry all this on your own.
Equipment.
But lo and behold, I survived, and I came back with a full story. Well, at the time, we were not sending news back home, but then I was able to make a very nice documentary. You should have a look at it sometime.
I'm going to look for it.
So
where had His Majesty gone to on that first trip?
It was just the first trip. We went to the United Nations. He went to Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. He visited a number of countries, actually the whole world, basically, I think, yes. So I can't remember everything right now. It's quite a long time, 89. It must have been before you were born.
In
1989.
Roundabout.
Yeah.
So you went and you traveled with His Majesty and you started the outside broadcasting unit, what we know today as the OB unit. What was the inspiration for it? What did you feel was missing that needed to be put in place?
Okay, as I worked in the newsroom, I used to cover His Majesty. Now, you know, you're not supposed to go to the royal household when you are bereaved. You know? And then we had a predicament where we used to use the same cameras. You find that before we cover His Majesty, you find an accident and people have died. Cover that story and then you go to the king. So it was kind of taboo. Okay. So therefore, having had that relationship with him, so I intimated with him and convinced him that he needed something of his own. So yes, he agreed, and I had returned from Zambia and had seen how an OB van operates. So I masterminded it, set it up, and he agreed. He assisted me actually because it was very controversial. It was called the 5 million studio at the time. So it was within the press, it was a waste of money and all those kinds of stories. But yes, it worked out, and that's what helps us today, covering His Majesty.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful legacy to leave behind.
Yes.
After how long did you leave your employer? Because you were with Eswatini TV at the time, and then you started the OB unit. How much time did you spend there before actually venturing off to do something of your own?
Well, actually, I started working with Channel Yemaswati while I was still at Eswatini TV. Yes.
There was no conflict of interest there?
There was, actually. It was even reported in the newspaper. But you see, I realized after that 5 million controversy that no, my time was limited at Eswatini TV. So then I therefore decided actually to start my own thing. I bought a camera which was being sold by Mr. Ashraf at Omni Center. Apparently he had bought a camera for his kids, but he realized later that it was a professional camera.
Yeah, it was an industrial
industrial, yes. It was a Yemaswati camera, so that helped me start. It was started as just a small production, and then it grew. There was only one other production. It was called Eye to Eye in the kingdom, so it was very expensive. So I took that advantage and got that niche of the market, and then it started growing. And that's basically how I found myself having. But yeah, there were questions about the conflict of interest. But then, yes, I knew that my time at Eswatini TV was limited. So I had to do it.
So that's how the birth of Channel S came about.
Yes, it's quite a long story. A story for another day. Yeah.
But can you perhaps share some of the challenges of starting a television station? You've just moved from one. What are some of the challenges that you faced, and how did you navigate around those?
Well, it was very expensive then. Very, very expensive. But then, because at least I knew the trade. Because first, no one understood or no one believed that a person could own a TV station, including His Majesty himself. I approached him and said, no, I'm actually paying 10 million a year for Swazi TV. Where will you get that kind of money? So then I heard that there was a satellite uplink facility, a multiplex in Johannesburg at Centre.
What does that mean in layman's terms?
In layman's terms is a broadcasting facility that helps people private organizations to uplink the program. Actually, that's what is broadcasting SABC currently.
Okay.
So I went to Centec. They never knew me. So I paid the money. It was 477,000 rand then.
That's a lot of money. Where did you get this money from?
Advertising.
Okay.
Yes, it was much easier then because it was satellite and the advertisers came from South Africa. They understood TV, South African Airways, and many others. So they assisted me. I got the money. I started the transmission. And then we were so lucky. Actually, I was still working the conflict of interest, working with His Majesty. So we traveled with His Majesty while we were broadcasting on the other side in South Africa. Went to Malaysia for the Smart Partnership Summit. And then just before His Majesty speaks, you know, they sing praises to him. So somebody sang praises and we never knew the guy. Apparently the guy happened to come from Zimbabwe in Bulawayo. And then His Majesty called him to find out how he knows the praises.
Who are you? Yeah.
Who are you? And he told him that he's from Bulawayo and he watches Channel Yemaswati, Channel S then.
Beautiful.
And then, yeah, that's how I got my license. So when we landed, His Majesty called me and said, now I understand this thing works. So what do you want? I asked for the license, I got it. And I made the biggest mistake. I then moved from satellite back to Swaziland for transmitters for free-to-air transmission. And yet I should have stayed in South Africa because I could have been simulcasting right now between here and South Africa. But yeah, I'm here now.
Even the digital transition probably would have been easier.
Much, much easier, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. The Channel S brand grew very quickly. How did you manage also to convince now local advertisers to come on board and partner with some of the initiatives that you were running at the station at the time?
Well, as you know, Yemaswati, once they see a South African brand advertising with you, they'll definitely come. So that's basically what happened. They saw your SAAs, many other companies with me, they came. And also they benefited because, yeah, there was quite big viewership then as compared to our government channel. Yeah.
Let's talk about content. What makes for good quality viewing content? Because you've been criticized to say it's a bit controversial there by Channel S, you know.
Yes.
And if you see a clip either on social media, you will know that this story, the likelihood is that this story was on Channel S and not just on TV or EBIS. How do you curate the kind of content that you feel speaks to your audience?
Well, our approach mainly is and was human interest stories. That was our approach. And well, I mean, my competitor was dealing with government issues, government speeches, and you know, and then also there was the issue of placement where we had to place our station itself. So we started in Mbabane, but we realized that no. Our concept does not fit well with Mbabane, so we went to Manzini.
Tiger City, I think?
Tiger City, yes, it was.
I remember.
And you see what then punctuated and ensured that we stayed in Manzini was at one point, we found people fighting on the road, road rage. You know, and
typical Manzini.
Typical Manzini, yes. We recorded them and then we ran out of battery. So they both stopped, asked us why we were not recording anymore. And yes, and we told them that it was battery. So we traveled 3 cars to Tiger City, got the battery, and they continued fighting.
Only in Manzini. That must have been gold.
So that's the type of stories that we cover.
Yeah. And there's definitely a market for it. There's definitely a market for it. So now, Channel S is growing as a brand, viewership is growing as well, and then in comes Channel S Club. Tell us about the concept behind it. What were you hoping to achieve when you started out?
That's a good one. That's a very good question. Channel S Club was not mine.
Oh.
Channel S Club was owned by pastors. Actually, it was started by the one who used to advertise. That's the one, yes.
I remember.
Actually, he's the only person who testified the truth in court. Because now they had been a part of SDL. So they separated with the SDL. So they decided to form something of their own. The bigger mistake was the name, because now he co-opted the former commissioner of cooperatives. So then they required what you call a common bond. So I suggested that why can't you call it Channel S Club? Yet I was putting myself into trouble. It continued. They signed a contract with me because they were advertising on the channel. But unfortunately, there was also a personal vendetta between my own cousin, who is the head of elections right now. We had a thief on the side. So that he masterminded everything. He's a very intelligent man because he made it up and it looked like I owned Channel S. And because I was supposed to have given 16 years. But then the court realized that no, I never owned it. But for some reason there was at the time, and there was also some political influence from the. I know he's your idol, but I saw your update at some point, but he was involved. Well, again, it's a story for another day, but there was nothing to do with money laundering.
The station itself.
It was nothing to do with the station. It was nothing to do with money. It was nothing to do with me, but I had to be arraigned because of the problems we had with my cousin. Yes.
With the benefit of hindsight, how do you think you would have done things differently with regards to the Channel S Club issue?
Well, the question of trust, you should never trust people. Because unfortunately, some of the people I trusted very much are the ones who turned against me. And, now if a story is told, if anything wrong goes on around here and you are the one who changes the whole concept, people will believe you. That was very much unfortunate for me because I thought the world was going to see. But the way it was so organized, I realized that, no, I'm going in. And yes, I did. I even conducted an interview there and told the world that, yes, I'm going to spend 4 years. I'm going to come out. I didn't do anything. And I spent 4 years, but I learned. Because one thing I hadn't realized, having grown in a royal household, I thought the world was flat. But then when I went to jail, I realized that, no, it's actually not very flat. Yeah, sometimes things can be very difficult. So I spent time, I learned, and yes, maybe a story that you didn't ask me. I had a visitation while in jail.
Okay.
Yes.
What sort of visitation?
Well, while I was sitting there confused as to what brought me here, and a pastor came to me, sat with me, and started prophesying. It must have been a Wednesday. So when he prophesied, he told me that you are not being, you are not serving a sentence, but you're being saved by God. You see, so I was worried and said, okay, even them, they do have these lying pastors.
A lot of them.
Yeah, and then, but he prophesied so many things. And one of the things that he said was, that would be your office, showing me the head office within the jail. And yet we were in a cell, But you see, after he spoke about 30 minutes, he said something that I hadn't told anyone before I went to jail. I realized that the man was speaking the truth. But when I asked him his name, he just said, I forgot the name, Nisi. And then we didn't look eye to eye. I realized that I'd made a mistake. Why did I ask him that question? But then afterwards, I realized that no, he was not a person because he disappeared just there. After he left. But everything he said took place. Yes, because he told me that afterwards we have a building. Yes, the building was my headquarters at Channel S. It was established. In jail, actually, he told me that I was going to have an office. I did my master's, by the way, so I had to give him an office. You see, so I had an office. So most of these things happened, and basically all that he prophesied is happening right now. Even your interview, I'm sure,
Is it?
part of that
Let's
prophecy.
go back a bit to the coverage of the trial pre-sentencing.
Yes.
A figure of 50 million Emalangeni was being thrown around.
Yes.
What really happened there?
That's a different case altogether.
That's a different case altogether.
Yes. Okay, you have the Channel S Club
Channel
on
S
the one
Club
side.
on the side.
Yes, and then I spent another 10 years going to court for the 50 million Emalangeni issue. Well, that again was a more political issue because it had to do also with some journalism a little bit. You see, I applied and got a tender for recording the proceedings of the business seminars, which were masterminded by His Majesty.
Okay.
And also on the side, I had a side business where I borrowed people who were tenders. So when we were called converging, I realized that one company, actually they approached me, that they wanted some assistance from me. So I assisted them. It was Swazi Enterprise. I assisted them, and they did their business. But then there was that controversy about the money having been wasted. So there was a commission which was set up by His Majesty.
Okay, a commission of inquiry.
A commission of inquiry, yes. So I listened to the commission. I was covering it. And one of the proprietors of the company in which I had lended money to said something that was not true. So I called the commission myself. They said, no, this is not true. I know the story. So then they said, would I want to participate? I said, yes. I went there, and yet I didn't know that I was putting myself in. So I went in, and then, I have a program called People and Places.
Yes.
So when I reported about this whole thing, I even questioned the selection of the commission itself because they had not finished part of their duty at Bulembu, a 10 million issue. So I queried the Prime Minister. Why would he use people who had not finished? They were controversial. I put myself into more trouble. So I didn't realize that, at the time. But when I finished, I sent Mhlonishwa Mota to cover the report when the Prime Minister then was Mr. A.T. Dlamini.
Okay.
I sent him Mhlonishwa Mota from the newsroom to cover the names of those who were involved. And my name was number 8.
What was your reaction when he came back with the story?
We were quite surprised. Because, actually, the reaction was, he reacted first because he never came to me to report to me. But Mtonisha, who are the names? And he said, no, I can't tell you the names. Then I realized that there was a problem. Then I realized, when he came in the paper, I realized that I was number 8. So we went to court, we were arrested, and we went to court. And then for the 10 years, no one talked about us, me and Mavuso. Mavuso, what happened was when I borrowed money to these guys, they didn't have teachers, and my friend was owning a school. So I brought him in.
Phumelele High School.
Phumelele High School, yes. So he assisted them, and then he was brought in as well. So there we were together, not understanding nothing about what they were talking about until just during the last session because there was just one testimony which had been made by affidavit, that is, which was made by was part of the directorship of that company. There was a clause, I remember it was clause 21, which implicated us. But then when she testified, she said she was not aware of clause number 21. And then the court was confused as well. But there are 2 people here who have been brought in by this clause. And she told the court that it was written by the police. Obviously, there must have been some influence. So that's how we got acquitted.
Let's talk about life in prison.
Yes.
What was that like for you, particularly being a public figure?
Yes.
Did it make it worse, or did you have some sort of perks?
Well, it could have been worse if I was not brought up the right way. Now, you see, it's more difficult in the army base than in jail.
Okay.
So now, when I came there, I realized, no, it's much, much easier here. Actually, it was like home to me because I had thought that it was going to be worse.
Really?
Yes. The food, they thought that I didn't like beans. Actually, that's my favorite meal. So basically, I felt at home. And then also, the respect. You see, if you want to survive there, and that's a message to the guys who are inside even right now, you must respect the warders. I respected them, and we became friends. And then also, I respected my fellow inmates, some of whom had the access to the garden. So they used to bring in some vegetables for me. So yes, I ate a very good meal. And basically they became friends. We became a big family, basically, to jail. And I really had a good time there, I must say, because I was learning. You see, it's actually, you see, being in jail is a different story. It's actually a different country. You really need a passport to get in there because the currency is different. The currency there is cigarettes.
So money is useless.
Money is useless. And yeah, and then also you have to make sure though that you are quite strong in terms of calisthenics because obviously they do take chances, but the advantage there is no one has a weapon. So now if you're trained well, then you are in charge.
Okay. Did you know how to fight with your actual hands?
Of course, yes.
I'm just checking.
We used to fight, yes. At some point, yeah. Definitely there, at least you must be sure that you are ready to fight.
What would usually start the fight? What was the bone of contention?
Well, I wouldn't want to get into that because it involves quite a number of people, but you should remember that one of the people we were with was Mr. Leo Dlamini, who had been a magistrate. Yes, now, being a magistrate, he found himself inside, and some of the people that he had sentenced were also there.
They had scores to settle.
Yes, so they had the scores to settle. So now he needed protection. So I was part of the protection.
Oh, you're part of his protection. What got you through that difficult time, and what did you reflect on when you were incarcerated?
What do you mean reflect on?
What was going on in your mind? Where was your mind at the time? What were you thinking about, particularly in terms of the kind of life that you would want to live once you've served your sentence?
Well, you see, what made me strong there was the fact that I had never done anything wrong. You see, so I really didn't bother myself. And then also, we had solace in the pastors who used to come because they came with messages. Part of them was your deputy director, Mr. Smelani, yes. So they used to come and preach us, and yeah, they assisted us because, yes, there are times when you're inside, when you think, why am I here? Yeah, but then basically, as long as you know that your date, when you'll be released, the date of release, that's when you look forward to that date. And it becomes difficult when you are on the other side, when you're just arraigned just before trial. But where we were, it was quite easy. And I mean, also the other bit that helped me was Mr. Busutini Jangase. They realized that I had a station to run. So they gave me all the facilities to be able to connect with the outside world, especially to connect with Channel Yemaswati.
Really?
I had visitations on Wednesday where we spent an hour where I used to advise my staff on how to run the channel. And then I also had access to the phone, the communal phone. I used to be able to talk to them because I used to even watch the channel, you know. So I used to then record, take down notes, and then tell them that the mistake you made here was because of sound. The video was not good, it was scene crashing, stuff like that.
Okay, so who held the fort when you were in prison? Who was running the station? And would you say that they did a good job?
They did. It was my wife.
Okay.
And some of the other staff, especially Peshe Asbia is now with the police.
Yes.
He was my technician there, and quite a number of others. I wouldn't want to mention names because there was quite a lot of them. They were quite united because, you see, they had been part of the whole journey. They knew that I hadn't done anything. So they also had that fighting spirit. They wanted to ensure that when I come out, I find the station still intact.
Let's talk about life then after prison. Was it difficult returning to your life? How was the reception? And what would you say you struggled with the most post-prison?
It was not very difficult. You see, being a journalist, you get exposed to so many things. You get exposed to worse things. So just when I came out, I continued from where I'd ended. Just as I told you that I was still part of Channel Yemaswati, having had that access to talk to those people. So I continued where I stopped, and that's how it worked. Yeah.
You've managed to do now we're talking about your life and your legacy.
Yes.
You've managed to do something that most people haven't, single-handedly training journalists in the country. I know a lot of journalists who credit who they are and what they are today because of you. And you have built a brand that has stood the test of time and controversy. What's the secret?
Well, the secret mainly is prayer hard work, should I call it assiduity, alacrity?
I love it.
Yes, that's just me. So, yeah, we worked hard, and sometimes you don't even realize yourself that you've gone that far. But I tried my level best to just ensure that I produce good quality. But the bigger advantage that I had was I was able to do journalism on the one side. On the technical side also, I participated. I'm the engineer at Channel Yemaswati, having been trained by what you call Friedrich Ebert Stiftung in Germany, and also in Mukattam in Egypt. So then it became easier, because the most expensive part in running a TV station is the technical side, where you have to pay some experts from South Africa. So in this case, I'm the one who does it myself. So it became quite easy for me, and that's what's still pushing me in this time.
Let's talk about the current state of the media in Eswatini today. What are your sentiments around media ownership? What are your thoughts? The landscape has changed so much, particularly these last couple of years.
Yes.
What do you think about that? All the shifting and the moving pieces in the puzzle, as it were.
Well, it's both positive and negative. The positive is that there's just so much that has happened. Look at you right now. You have now moved towards, gravitated towards television.
Yes.
But then the advertisers, the difficult part with us right now is now advertisers have their own pages right now. So now you see DTT. That's, no, it's not a simulcast. The distribution side of broadcasting. So that's basically what's happening right now. Now you are having the free-to-air on the one side. They don't have stats. We know that we have 700,000 people watching us, but then how can you prove it? You have to have people from AC Nielsen who are going to charge you 3 million to do that research. And then yet you are having Snetemba with his team right here. You know the exact viewership of this. You know, that's the difficult part. Then how do you convince your advertisers? You see? So now we have to look at other means of surviving. So now we have to create side businesses. We have to come up with strategies to support the station itself, because it's no longer getting any revenue. You see, that's the current status. But however, with regards to what is happening right now, it's quite interesting. It's much easier to bring in news now from all over, because, I mean, things are now much easier. I mean, here we are right now, and I'm sure I'll be seen by so many other people. That's quite positive. So that's it, if it answers your question.
It does, it does. Let's talk about still in the changing landscape of the media. Our regulator is relatively new, the Eswatini Communications Commission. What are some of the advantages, would you say? Have you seen the value of the space being regulated, or is it just still the same to you?
Well, when it started, we never knew what a regulator was, but we realized late that we really needed it. Actually, I'm quite glad that they even donated some equipment to Channel Yemaswati. And yeah, it is helping us, because regulation has made us understand what we're supposed to do. You remember I told you about the human interest stories that we cover. You know, no one was regulating us. And, you know, we used to cover even stories. At some point, you see, we used to even be live in accident scenes. And you see, you could see your relative dying live. But that has been regulated. You see, so there are quite a number of positives, and some of the things are negative, especially on the viewership side, because viewers are still expecting Channel Yemaswati not to edit. But right now, there's quite serious editing done.
Do you feel as though the role of the regulator tramples on issues around media freedom and expression, maybe?
Not really. Yeah, when it started, yes. But having had meetings with them, and having, now they do understand what we need. You know, there's quite a number of meetings that we have with them. So now there's understanding, because at some point we do realize, and we do explain to them that we had to run this one. We had to balance the story. On this one, we really need didn't need to balance it, but yeah, now we're getting there. They're still quite new, but yeah, we're getting there. Now we do understand each other.
Let's talk about the quality of the actual craft now, the journalists that that we have currently in the country. You mentioned some big names, journalists who started off and are doing amazing things. You're a media owner, some of the people that you went to school with. He's the spokesperson for the King's office. My boss was the director of the radio station and former spokesperson also. When you look at us, the upcoming journalists, is there hope?
Actually, there's quite a lot of hope. You remember the other day when you visited me at the office, I told you that I listened to you. And also Langwenya, I listened to her. I'm quite impressed, actually, because one, you have an advantage, a bigger advantage than some of us. I told you that I started schooling at Lobamba National High School. You can tell from my accent. Now, if you compare my accent and yours, it's completely different. The bigger difficulty now is the conversion. Now, you see, when I speak, it's all being translated from Siswati into English, and yet it comes straight. You understand my point? So that's the big advantage. That's what we're seeing currently, the crop of journalists. It's much, much easier for you guys to converse in the language. And also, you guys were born, you see, we come from the analog era, and you're in the digital era. I think it all fits very well. You see, now is our time to move on the side. It's just that we don't have money. But I think you guys should take over and continue with it and take the baton from us and push it. And I must commend you for having steered very well that function with His Majesty. And then also, I also listened to Langwenya when she analyzed the sports, and I said,
she's brilliant.
Very brilliant, yes. So I said, okay, now, we never used to have that. We used to have Wamkumbi Gampalala then with Mazia Mkango at some point, and when there's a goal, they would be still discussing, and they won't even remember the score.
That a goal has been scored.
So we've seen quite a lot of improvement, especially on your side, and also the other media houses as well. Yeah.
What are your hopes for Channel Yemaswati 10, 15, 20 years from now? What are you hoping to see? How are you hoping the station will grow and evolve?
It's very difficult, you see, because the technology is growing so very fast. I hope that, because by then I won't be there. Obviously, the other ones who will follow me should brace themselves for bigger changes. My best hope is that it's going to improve and be a part of the development that is currently taking place. Well, basically what I realized right now is that if we don't want to adapt to the situation, we'll fall off. So I hope that we will try. I'm trying even right now. I also have podcasts as well, just as you have. And I hope that this one is also going to be simulcast within my channel.
Thank you. There's room there for partnership?
Yes, yes, obviously. I'll have to negotiate with you guys so that we have the program, so that I try to adapt and move with the times. So I hope we'll be able to adapt and move with the times and be at par with what will be happening then.
Awesome stuff. As a parting shot, as a businessman, what is your advice for entrepreneurs hoping to go into business? Someone who's still starting out and struggling and finding their...
taking place here. That's the whole idea of having a business. So basically that's it. You have to understand your surroundings, understand the terrain. Don't go there. Don't go and establish a combi business when you see that it's already saturated. Do something else. Or in the event you want to do it, just get a niche within the same market. Then you will survive.
Thank you so much, Ndoleni, for speaking to us. That brings us to the end of this edition of Echoes of the Kingdom. We are shooting in the beautiful Batle Pantry at the Foundry, which is situated at Matapa Industrial Site. Please do come through and see them. They have great food and a great ambiance. And if there's business that you want to do here, they also have facilities where you can do that as well. From myself, Sinetemba, Mdomtepsiga Eldamini, and the entire team, please do stay tuned. Click, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, this is Echoes of the Kingdom, connecting eras, one voice at a time. Ciao.
Yimambala bayesa phela bayisindwendwe. Beta makethulo njengelizulu lasamxolo. Yendlovu yemhlaba. Ingani phela igilosho lokho lamahasha. Yebi fiyeka lamahasha. Yakumbula khona khona lutsithini. Nyaka nakubeka phona shivakata kalaswela. Bahangwana bakushanyana bakukhahlala netinyawo. Wila ngempakulu wetinkunzi letimbili. Tona tathi tiyawukhwela malagwane. Yimbela tase tiyaphikisana. Ezebanovula bebafana belitoto. Ingani thine besivalile. Yibungemadoda lamabili. Enye benyakatho enye beningizimu. Wila ngempela boti jinga letinsanzane. Ingani siyakuzonda isinjinga. Uthandwa izingatsha kuphela. Ekitebeldovu yemhlaba. Ingene khona lutsithini. Ingani nemboka phela nendlovu. Yebo kweshivakata kalaswela. Ingane ihlekweni seyangukuda. Ngisho kuwe phela iheshane bakashabangu. Bese uyagijima phela unikufana besikoti. Kanti phansi phela bafana babuthelezi. Bese nembeyani yamkhawula. Ingane phela endlekweni phezulu ngamathobane. Umahasha lomnyama ngani bekangakanani. Bengahlala sentendeni yesandla. Ngemambala phela thathise phela umnguni. Kanti nabasesheni khona sekukubalekela. Mtshilota kitokangwane. Sebenziwe sivaka somhlolo. Afuma phansi phela amakhola ehlokoma. Teka thaba takumthimba. Bathoma nabomgomelo wavusa nasetiko. Umlungu uzwendlovu ingani bayivalile. Ingani bayivala ngamaphamba ezibhamu. Ukhaya phansi kumagatsa afanele. Wamkhanza phela gasa wangwane. Balise kodlula kwendlovukazi yemhlaba. Ingani bengayikhotha lokumthelela. Ayikho phela ngalindlovu. Eyabheza indlovu akwesisika sekamswati. Ingane phela udliwa izimfingo. Silondlovu ahlabile ngobhuta. Lo mahasha labangambe kangakanani. Ngisho kube kuphela heshana bakashabangu. Yebo kuphela heshana bakashabangu. Ufika wathatha phela umbhobho. Awunika indlovukazi yemhlaba. Wathi phakathi nemaswati ngabhiliyoni. Bese wona bomkhonzo nenkovuma. Base bakhanza bogogo namkhulu. Base bayakubila phela indlovukazi yemhlaba. Bathi hello. Hello. Sakubona phela indlovukazi. Udlovu udle amagala ezihlahla. Nkosi indlovukazi mhlekazi. Akube kuhle indlovu enamandla. Wena wekunene.
Bayethe wena phakathi wena ungangezintaba. Umqombo nyama yesibanda ingani utheseka wethu la sengwayo etibiyweni. Wevakala sikhombeni sika